It's not uncommon when you've created a chart to sometimes want to change the source data that the chart uses. I'm in a hurry here. I'm about to create a chart. I see that this data is surrounded by empty cells. So I'll just click in here and quickly create a chart with Alt F1. And as soon as I see this, I realize I've made a little bit of a mistake here because I've included the totals in here, and those tall columns are unrepresentative of the rest of the data. So I'll simply click one of the tall columns that represents the data out of column E, the total column. I'll simply press delete. It's not there. But I do have average in here as well. I probably don't want that there. So I'll make a change. How about change the chart type? Now I could delete the average column if I wanted to, but here's another option you might not be aware of. When you change the chart type, certainly you can go to the chart type that you want, possibly change that. But if we go to recommended charts, the first option here happens to be a different kind of use of this chart that you might not have thought about. The average column is about to be turned into a line. And we see that in the image to the right. Let's click OK and take a look at that. Now, we could have done that manually, but here Excel has done it for us. And possibly if we were creating a new chart, we'd see that there as well too. So what if, for example, leaving this chart here, we were about to create a chart using this data right here. We might want to use average, so I'll use the Control key and highlight this. Insert tab in the ribbon, recommended charts, and the first one we see is that same kind of chart. There it is. Because it's a different nature, the data, average, somehow or other built into the algorithm of Excel, we see a way to create a chart here that uses a line and a column together. All right, let's get rid of this. Sometimes we don't see that or we didn't know that. Maybe we saw this, we're using it for a while. We don't want that average anymore. I'll click the line, press delete. A different scenario at a different time, we don't want to see Europe here. That's the orange column. I'll click there, press delete. Now, a few minutes later, whatever, someone might say, could you bring back Europe? Well, we can highlight Europe. Now, you used to be able to drag this onto a chart. You can't do that anymore, but we can certainly press Control C. Now, when you paste in the chart, you can either click anywhere, for example, here, press Control V, that'll work. If you happen to right-click, it's a little bit strange because when you right-click in the plot area, and this is where we actually want to paste that new column, there's no choice for paste. When you right-click in the chart area, there is a choice for paste. So that's a little bit strange. Nevertheless, we got it back in there. And so at different times, we might click a column to take out the data. And so we might copy and paste data from a worksheet into a chart. We've got complete control over the options here. And if we were doing this manually and were to bring in average again, say in a manual way, we highlight the data, perhaps press Control C, clicking in the plot area here, Control V. Let's click the average column here. I can go to the Design tab. Can we change the chart type of just the column? Now, we can see already that some unusual phrasing here, custom combination here. And we see some choices here, up and down the side here, where they're all clustered column. But I want just the average here to be a line. And so choose the fourth option. That's usually the best line option. And then click OK. And we'll have that set up. So we can approach this in different ways. So at different times, you can copy and paste data into a chart. You can remove data from a chart pretty easily. Remember, click a column. And of course, in line charts, click a line and press delete to get rid of them. And when you're selecting data, creating the chart, sometimes you'll select more than you wanted to. Sometimes you'll select less than you wanted to. You can always have control over the source data. Now, one other oddity here too, if you've been manipulating charts a bit, as I have been here back and forth, sometimes when you click on a chart, you're used to seeing the data being highlighted off to the left. We're not seeing that happen here. Now, I'll quickly create another chart, highlight this data, press Alt F1. When we click the chart, the data is highlighted off to the left. If I shorten the data being shown by using this fill handle, pulling it leftward here, we see less data being shown, and yet as we click outside of it and then click back in the chart, we still see what's being highlighted. Expand it, we still see that happening. But if I were to delete Europe, for example, that's the middle entry of the three regions, press delete, it's gone. Now click on the chart, we don't see the highlighting of the data. So different oddities and effects we get here by highlighting data And after having moved data back and forth, sometimes we don't always get the visual we want here. But I think you can see from some of the different examples here how we've got control over what a chart is showing and how we can easily add information and take out information using the various techniques we've seen in this movie.